Welcome back to episode 43 of FTB Infinity Evolved Expert Mode, and as you can see, it looks like things are done. They're not, but it looks like it. The outside isn't done, but the inside is, which is more important. So I will continue the outside on off days when I'm not recording, and we'll do the world download as soon as the outside's done, I think, just to make sure you got stuff. I've gone through and basically put some glowstone powered carpenter's blocks at certain points on the inner wall, so if you have a look you can see the outline of the outside texture just in the light. Thought that was a pretty cool detail. Not doing that on the roof or on the ceiling. Roof or the ceiling? What? On the ceiling or the floor, because I want an evenly lit surface down there, and those, if you put them on the floor, for example that kind of spot, I can imagine there might be spawn spots. Not that that's an issue, mostly because we're going to be building some magnum torches today, but you still get bats, no matter how much I try and get rid of bats. My last season, I had a void world that was bright light, permanent day, and I still got bats if you've got spots where there isn't any lights. So just be careful when you light things up in void worlds. You need to still take care of lighting most of the time. So you need some more lighting on the other walls, but at least everything's complete here. And what we've got down here is a similar setup to what we've got at base. This is a link to our logistics pipes network. It's got an inventory system connector with a card in it. It's linked to our other system, just like the reactor is linked to our other system. It's got power through a logistics power junction through a tesseract, so we can then attach to this pipe anywhere to really extend the logistics pipe network. This is just a soldering station, don't worry about that. Or what we're probably more likely to do is just really then attach this to our AE system, and then we'll have a way for our AE, again through an interface, to provide all of its inventory to logistics pipes to do auto crafting, at least the start. What I think I'm going to try and do is, I'm assuming that power is going to come from below here. Right now it's just a tesseract back to our overworld, but eventually there'll be something below. Storage is going to be above this block, and then out in the four directions, because they're all going to be coming from this ME connector here in the middle. And the four directions, maybe farms, mob farms, auto crafting, and whatever. I haven't decided quite yet, but it's getting on. And this really is a big room, so there should be plenty of room for all kinds of stuff. My frame rate is amazing right now because we're in a void world and there's no tile entities here, so no machines or anything else ticking away. So my frame rate's up to like 130, 140 at 2560 by 1440, so it's pretty good, at least for recording. But of course, as soon as I start bringing infrastructure in here, it's not going to be quite so good. So maybe we leave some back in another dimension just so that we haven't got those interfering. But yeah, I like it so far. ME chest next up after that, I think. Not ME chest, ME drive up next up there, I think. And we'll see how that goes. Back to base. And through loading. Here we go. And where was I? Yes, I was saying we need to make magnum chests. Magnum torches. And to do that, you need melons. And I don't have, so to speak, any melons. I had some pumpkins though. You can cross pumpkins with carrots in agrocraft and you get melon. So just bear that one in mind if you need melon. And the reason why you need melon is for glistening melon. This. And I want 2 magnum torches, so at least I need 2 of those. Quick brewing. Not going to go into this too much in detail. We just want 2 starting water bottles. I think you start this off with with netherwort, and then netherwort on that one. And we're going to need to put gas tears and the glistening melon in next. I'm keeping more because I want more than 1 torch, but don't worry about that too much just yet. Awkward potion. Okay. Hang on. Which one? Which round is it? Magnum torch. So potion of healing is potion of healing. Awkward potion to potion of healing. I think it's awkward potion for both of them to start with. So melon and gas tier. Again, I'm keeping enough to do this again. I think the last stage for both of them is glowstone, so there's nothing too much to deal with there. I've also gone and let's just bring up the magnum torch. I've gone and crafted the other bits. It's QED recipe, so we need to get the chandeliers and some bedrockium out. Bedrockium will slow you down, so put that one as mine as well. Chandeliers are just very, very simple recipes, just diamonds and stuff. Bedrockium comes from Mox nuclear fuel, and it's very, very useful for bedrockium drums. So I made 10 of it, but the bedrockium drum, there we go. That stores a huge amount more than those drums we have for the liquid XP and mob essence. So the bedrockium drums are a much, much, much better upgrade. So yeah, and there are also all kinds of other things you can make with bedrockium ingots. There's the drum, usually cauldron and some weighted pressure plates. Yeah, they will come in use for awakened cores, draconic evolution. We're gonna have to get to that soon. Block of bedrockium. I don't think I'm gonna ever need that one. Transfer node hyper energy, maybe. And there's some tools and bits and pieces. But other than that, main thing for drums. And it seems in this mod pack for these. So we're into health. So let's just put glowstone in. And glowstone. I've made 2 of these not to do them in parallel, by the way, but because I want a the other chemistry set. Alchemic chemistry. Yes, I think it uses one of these as a component. It does. It only needs a tier 1 altar, so that will get us to the alchemic chemistry set, which we can then use to make the alchemy catalyst. With lots of other things, of course. We need 2 of them, so I may have to turn both of these sets into that, which we can then turn. Well, we don't turn it into anything, but that will then let us convert. What was it now? Something into it's the blood orb recipe for the next tier up. Yeah, at least in this mod pack. Where is it? There it is. Prismarine. We need prismarine shards, which means putting nether quartz into a mana infusion into a mana pool, but you need an alchemy catalyst to do it. That's why we need the alchemy catalyst. Blah 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 blah. More of these. More of these. Yeah, do bear that in mind. And that's done. And that's done. So let's go and get this sorted, and I need to pick up the bedrockium, so I'm going to walk really slowly. I did get some feedback between the episodes, and this one is very good feedback. Basically telling me I was doing it wrong, and I absolutely agree with you. I was doing it wrong if you want to talk about efficiency. Let me explain just while I just put this in here to craft. Thank God I got rid of that. Okay, let's get those. And you. There you go. Magnum torch. So let's go over here and look at this for a second. I did change this around a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. This is a way to do it with purely AE2. I want to make that clear at the start. It's just AE2. Now, the reason why I can't, for instance, tip this up on its, so it's vertical. So we've just got, 4. No, get out of here. Maybe some kind of blocks. You'll do. So what I normally do is do this with 4 little growth accelerators and put a bucket of water in the middle. With AE2, the dropper, if you like, the item dropper is this, the formation plane. And you can select using the formation plane. If I can actually select it through the hole in this thing, I probably can't. Just about, maybe? No? Yeah, not having any of it. But I remember I could put seeds in there and a fuzzy card and told it to just, form seeds this way. Which is fine, absolutely great. So that an item dropper you can put on top of that just fine as well. However, you can't put one of these underneath. Let's just get rid of this gas clover. Annihilation plane. No right-clicking, no selecting what it annihilates. It'll annihilate anything that hits it. And that's really unfortunate. I would love it if that could be selected. Please, if you know an AE2 developer, having a filter on the annihilation plane would make it a pure AE2 setup very, very simple. But we can't. So if you want to do cross mod, and you probably should rather than do this pure A2, I was just doing this for the sake of it. You can use things like hopper hocks, those, or you can use one of the commenters suggested Steve Factory Manager to go and look for the items nearby and put it in a chest. Both of those should work just fine. They would need to be underneath, and I will probably, when I move this setup into a void chamber, probably switch across to this. This also happens to do things faster, a full 33% faster, because it has more than 3 acting on the water at once. So it's got 4 acting on the seeds at once in the water, and, you know, a lot less power. So yeah, this is a purist. That's actually probably better. So I agree with you guys. Well done for suggesting it. So I'll build that setup again when we get to it, which shouldn't take us very long. And are you finished? Hopefully you are. Yes, Magnum Torch. Finally, this has 128 radius. Documentation says 64. It's wrong. It's 128. I tested that in Agrarian Skies. I didn't finish that series, but yeah, I really should finish more series, although I'm not quite sure what the end goal is. Well, I suppose Agrarian Skies is HQM, so yeah, I shouldn't finish it. But I did test out the Magnum Torch, and that is 128 radius. So if it is dark now, I'm not sure if existing mobs will stay out, but new mobs should be spawning around here. Yeah, there's an existing one. Probably have to wait for the next night time before we see any decent results, because some of these are already here. So I'll probably come back when it's next night time. Reminds me, did I take cheat mode off? I'm going to make sure. Yes, I did, thank God. I don't want to accidentally start spawning stuff in after I did the whole day-night mode last time round. So I'm going to make those in alchemic chemistry and do a bit more blood magic. Blood magic early on is very, very laborious, so I'm not going to do too much of it on camera. One of the big problems that you're going to want to do yourself if you're doing this is you're going to want to get the ink mixer, and the ink mixer allows us to get between dimensions really easy, which means I don't have to use that portal right there, so it doesn't keep sending me back to spawn. However, the ink mixer has one component, a teleposer. Teleposers are from blood magic, and they need teleposition focuses, which requires a tier 4 altar, and the tier 4 is probably, yeah, it's a fairly high tier anyway, because you've got to make a much, much bigger altar than I have at the moment. I don't have space for it just yet, so I may have to expand that. And 2,000 life points, and you end up with a teleposition focus. So I will build up more of that off camera, and then we can get to an ink mixer, which means I can get to easy portals between the things, which will help me when I'm moving things in and out. So we can get that out of the way. In fact, when I imported everything from the logistics pipes network, it pulled out the compacting drawers, all the iron as blocks instead of as ingots. Not much I could do there. So I'll have to convert that back at some point, but yeah, I'm not too concerned about it just yet. Okay, so with this argument over this thing done for now. Oh, just by the way I changed it was just to have this as a buffer chest for the finished seeds, which would then get pulled in through this and this way, rather than trying to use this chest mixed. It just meant that this setup for this import bus was easier. I didn't have to put any filters in, because what would happen is if I didn't have this chest in, it would insert both seeds and finished things in here. This thing would try and pull the finished seeds, but this thing would also try to import them back into here. So basically you end up with this war over where the seeds were. And yeah, it's just simpler to do it this way, but you know, I'll convert it across that other system when we get to that. The builder's wand, so handy. I did want to mention one other thing though, is that the stuff I've made it out of, which is laboratory blocks, which is the same as I made the nuclear room out of down there. requires nether quartz. And I was using a lot of nether quartz. And that's something that we can, when we get to rituals, we can duplicate nether quartz. Rituals? Is it rituals? No, it's purely Botania. So once we get to high level Botania stuff, we should be able to duplicate nether quartz, and that will save me an awful lot of stuff from going back to the nether, because I had to go back for a room that size, probably about 5 trips to the nether with about, I don't know, maybe 10 stacks a time. So yeah, 50 stacks of nether quartz. So lots and lots and lots of hunting for nether quartz. I'm sick of it. Ooh, more melon. Nom. Moving on.
I decided to get things out of the way and move everything over into this box. If I'd left things where they were, I would have kept on building and building, and it would have just been a real pain to move it then. So I may as well move it now and we'll get it out of the way. For the moment, I've got a temporary tesseract here just because I don't have a lot of that ME cable from Ender.io yet, so I just put this here because I had a spare. That will eventually, of course, not be here. It'll all be down there, which I'm going to show you in a second. So I've added more drives, drive fixtures, I should say, and they're all up here, in that eventually my drive system is going to be way up there. But for now, that's good enough. I don't need that many. This is using, can I see into there? Yeah, I've got 4, 5, 6. So yeah, I've got room for a couple more. Moving down, however, this is now the kind of finished system. I've got a magnum torch here. That's not going to protect against bats, but it will do everything else. And this is kind of a compacted version of the system we got over the other side. So just to explain everything here, we've got the input system from our quarries going in straight into AE. We've got a link to our LP network, again, going straight into this. Well, it doesn't matter this into this, but a link to the LP network on the other side. I shouldn't say LP because LP is also life points, which is blood magic, but logistics pipes. Here we've got our logistics chassis Mark IV. That's the thing that basically lets us match everything inside AE. And on this side, just the logistics request table, which means from here I can access all the things that need basically crafting. The only bug that I found on this, and I'm not sure if you guys think it's a bug, but I think it is that even though we're linked to this other system and we can see them just fine, I can't use this to select just craftable stuff. If I sort things by size 0, I can still actually craft stuff that's needed. So I can go ahead and craft one of those if I wanted. In fact, let's just do something that's yeah, request 1 gear, request successful. I just can't select those. I'm not doing something weird, I don't think, but it's just not working. Which is fine, I don't mind. I can still access all the stuff I need, which is the important point. On there's a tesseract that just goes into logistics power junction and powers the whole logistics pipe side of things. And that's pretty much it. You know, we've just got this system, and the only thing on the other side now is pretty much various auto crafting. I've not moved the crystal growth system in here yet, so that's something I need to do, but I'll do off camera and maybe make a few changes to make it more efficient for those people who objected. And that's pretty much it. However, we should start looking at replacing logistics pipes, and I'm just going to do that very briefly at the end of this episode. I'm not going to cover it in detail because it's fairly straightforward, but it's worth at least going over for those of you who don't remember how to do it in AE2, particularly if it's been a while since you played. So we're going to need a few blocks. You can see them here. We're going to need some ME interfaces, molecular assemblers, crafting monitor, crafting coprocessor, and a crafting storage. I've made a 64K one. So the idea of this, I'm not sure where I'm going to put these. In fact, I'm probably going to put the processors down here. So let's go and put the processors over here somewhere. I'm using 3 channels, so it's pretty much, I think it's 1 channel per processor. So let's just run this over here. Yeah, that might work well. In fact, you only need 7 of these. But the thing is, you have to make a cuboid, and it's a multi-block cuboid. So let's just put one there, like this. Put the crafting storage in the center. That's not the center. That's not crafting storage even. That's crafting storage. This block texture is just because it's Faithful 32. I think it's a little different texture in base Minecraft, but they're the same colors, so you get the idea. And we're just going to go up and over. Oh, that's good, really. And then we just want a block to connect it to, which is fine. We can use one of these. I thought you could use one of those. Maybe I can only connect to the crafting storage block. Slightly annoying. Let's see if that's the case. You should connect. I'll figure that out in a minute. Oh, maybe it needs an interface. Either way. No, it needs to be the multi-block. Fine, so I can put those in the center. Yes. I want them this way around. That's just annoying that's great, but we'll cope. So, it has to be a cuboid of some kind. It forms into a multi-block. Again, textures are maybe slightly different from the base Minecraft, but you get the idea. On here, we'll display what it's crafting, but this doesn't really do anything until you have the other side of things working, which is to say the molecular assemblers and the ME interfaces. So let's pop up here, and let's say we're going to put them over here. So initially, there's a few ways of doing this, but I'm just going to really just put them like this. There are, basically you're talking about efficiency here, and for now they're not going to be terribly efficient. The idea is that you put your I guess I could put one here. I could put one on the other side as well to make a block of 5 on each one. The idea is you put your recipes in the ME interface. They go in here in the patterns. The ME interfaces can then use any molecular assemblers attached to them to make items. Or rather, the crafting coprocessors downstairs really are the ones that are actually using the stuff to make items. However, excuse me, there's a trade-off in these two things. The crafting coprocessors down here basically help things to work in parallel. So the more of them you have, the more of the molecular assemblers that can be used. However, it depends where you put the recipes. So if I had, let's say I had something like, something simple. Let's say something that needed sticks and planks. If I put my sticks in here and my stick recipe in there and my planks recipe in here, it's nicely distributed and they'd have a best chance to actually make more of them. Extend that outwards to any recipe. If you've got something with about 8 different steps in it, and all the subcomponents you need to build, put all the subcomponents for each recipe in separate ME interfaces. As long as they don't depend on each other, then you're not gaining too much either way. But separate them as much as possible. So what I may end up doing is having a wall. So another ME interface there, another one there, another one there, etc., and make a checkerboard pattern outwards, so that each ME interface that I put has at least 4 spaces. Obviously not this first set because. I'm connecting them here. In fact, I don't need to connect them this way. I could just detach that and put it there. Well, let me just remove that for a second. Yeah, so if I had them like this, then I think that passes through everything, so we got no issues. And I think it's 1 channel per ME interface. Excuse me, my voice is going, it's going terrible. Oh. I'm going to take a drink. Sorry about that. Yes. So 1 channel per ME interface, and then we're going to need to put patterns in it for recipes. Now, to start off with, you could start with all those recipes we've already got, but since we can already autocraft those, we should probably do what's traditional again and start this crafting its own things so that we can make more AE2 components quite easily. So just as a brief example there, just so we don't run on all day, I don't extend this episode too much, Take on something like 1K storage. So, 1K storage component. Fairly simple recipe. We just have to encode that somewhere. For that, we need pattern stuff. Pattern. And can I ever remember the block that's needed? We certainly need blank patterns and a pattern terminal. That should do the job. That should be straightforward. I think I've got all of those. So let's just create that. And is this set to auto now? It is. Yeah, that's what I was looking for, the ME synchronize auto. The only downside to this is you can't actually click away from actually using E to click away again because everything's locked into the terminal. So just bear that in mind, you have to press escape, but otherwise it's fine. Pattern. And let's make the terminal first because that's the one that, I have to make a crafting terminal. Okay, and I probably don't have any of those. Okay. ME terminal, do I have you? Wow, okay. This is why we need the auto crafting system. So the formation cores, fine. But it is a whole lot faster than logistics pipes, so I will forgive it. We are going to need one of those. 3. Whoops, wrong way. I should be able to do that now. ME terminal, ME crafting terminal. I made about a full stack of each of those. I'd fully recommend doing that at this stage until we've got subnetworks working. I will come back to you on the subnetworks. Did I already make one of those? ME pattern terminal. Clearly not. Yeah, I got one. Okay, so let's drop you down here. And actually, I don't want that magnum torch there. Let's just put that back here somewhere. And then I can extend the cable downwards. That's slightly annoying. Don't need 2 cables into that, but yeah, we'll cope. And pattern terminal, which lets us store recipes into patterns. So we need to get the patterns now, which is not terribly difficult. Usually. So let's just make a few of those. Say 10, put them in here. And then first thing we need to encode is the blank pattern itself, which means it looks kind of weird. But this is a pattern to make this. So I never need to look at that recipe again. Or this is the problem with ME auto. And we can just go and put that in here. Like that. Now I should be able to see the pattern in the AE2 interface, and then we can just auto craft it. And of course, this is much more compact than the logistics pipes side of things. So pattern. So just craft me, I don't know, 30. And we're missing glowstone and we're missing quartz glass. But you get the idea. If I had those in stock, it would just make them. So we need to get glowstone and get out of that system. You get glowstone and quartz glass, which is relatively straightforward. Is there any other patterns I can do just to complete this so that we're not... yeah, the 1K storage, that's what we're looking for. It's useful for lots of things. 1K storage component. I don't want the pure, really. I want the... I'd rather have the normal Certus quartz. Okay. So sometimes it's not quite as good as the LP thing, the logistics pipes thing, where you can select what kind of ore dictionary it's using. So instead, just this is a ghost inventory, so we don't have to worry. Select the ones you want, and then go encode. And I'm gonna have to get used to that. I'm gonna have to bind escape on. I use a G13 keyboard kind of replacement gamepad thing, and you can bind whatever you want onto it. He just doesn't have an escape key, so I'm going to have to deal with that. But now we can pretty much craft 1K storage, and that lets us craft all the rest. So give me a 1K storage then. Do you have enough for that? Craft. I'll take 3 to make a 4K storage. Yes. Crafting CPU is automatic because I only have 1 anyway, so even if I change this, it has 64K storage. That's kind of the number of items in bytes. Co-processor 7, doesn't really matter, just leave it to automatic and press start, and it's done. that is a much faster crafting system, auto crafting system than our logistics pipe. So even some of the nice advantages of logistics pipes are just replaced with sheer speed. And we're going to build that crafting wall up, I think. This is probably going to be one of the first candidates then to replace with dense cable and looking into things like P2P networks, which we'll look at whenever I get capacity of this up to 8, which is going to take a little while, maybe a couple of episodes. I'm going to need to convert everything else across. Similarly, you can also, and this is just one last thing to mention, this has a second mode. This is a crafting pattern mode at the moment, but you can set it to this mode, the processing pattern. So this is when you attach an ME interface to a machine, and you'd specify something like the inputs and the outputs here. So like 1 sand equals 1 silicon, if you could get that to be equal. And then you'd put it into an ME interface, not one of those connected to the molecular assemblers, and put the ME interface next to the machines. Now, there's some idiosyncrasies there with doing that efficiently. That is not always worth having the ME interface attached directly to the machine. You may want to have a buffer of some kind. So the ME interface going to a chest, the chest distributing stuff to multiple machines, those going back into the ME interface. Or you could have an ME interface with one recipe in it with 4 of the machines around it or 5 of the machines around it. You get the idea? You just need to supply power, etc. Just so that it works efficiently. And that's something we will be exploring a little bit. It's very similar to what I did with the laser buffers, laser assembly table buffers. So just bear that in mind. You may need to play with those just to make things that take processing time. You want to reduce that as much as possible. It's horrible otherwise. You don't want to wait for those. And even better, when we get to subnetworks, you will have them already supplying that and just waiting for you to take some. As soon as you take some out of the subnetwork, it will go and craft more. And because you won't need, you'll be able to specify how much that you keep. You'll be able to have enough to do pretty much anything almost instantly with crafting up there. So bear that in mind. This is just a brief kind of half episode introduction to AE2 auto crafting. Hopefully it's helped. If you already know everything about it, then sorry, but I thought it'd be useful to mention. And we probably will have more of these so that you can craft if I make one crafting job here, it'll go into this. But if I then request another crafting job, I may want another one of these, or another 2 of these, or 3 of these, to make it be able to process long-running crafting jobs all simultaneously and in parallel. So there's that. So we're now moved in. I still haven't done the outside, so that's something I should go away and carry on doing. Because I want to get the world download up to you guys now that I've got like pretty much a complete system in here. I need to complete this outside section. So yeah, I'm going to go away and do that. If you like this episode, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, give it a thumbs down, but leave comments. I do love to see the comments, even when they're saying, hey, your Crystal Growth Accelerator is very power efficient. Yes, it was. But other than that, I look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you next episode. Feel free to subscribe or follow me on Twitter @GreyDuster, and you'll get notifications for new episodes. Thanks for watching.